Lloydminster firefighters have been out to support the Terry Fox Run for numerous years. The occupation of firefighting actually has direct correlations with cancer, and studies have shown this. So it's something that's very important to us as we advocate in our profession for health and safety of our members, as well as just seeing the effects. Everybody's affected by cancer. You don't have to look far to find somebody who has been personally touched and affected by cancer. So we're out here. We're happy to support and get involved. And you know, it's a great outing for our kids, our families. They're all out here supporting us and supporting the Terry Fox Run as well. We're just happy to be out here and having some fun.
This year's turnout exceeded last year by 25 people, something the organizers are happy about as more people supported the annual cause.
We're very excited about the turnout this year. It's absolutely amazing to see so many people come together, and a lot of them are here to support somebody in their family or somebody that they know. So many of them have a very personal reason for taking part in the Terry Fox Run, and it's just wonderful to see so many people come together and be inspired by Terry Fox and have that desire to want to help out, not just their close relative or their friend who might be battling with cancer, but the community as a whole. So it's great to see this turnout, and we are almost at our goal of fundraising, so we're very confident that we're going to reach that $10,000.
Approximately $11,000 was raised, surpassing their goal. Abby St. John, Primetime Local News.
And the Lloydminster Rotary Club welcomed another special guest this week. The Samaritan's Purse is a Christian organization dedicated to providing aid to victims of war, disease, and poverty around the world. Officially establishing in 1983, the Samaritan's Purse has created a water care program, a disaster relief program, and other programs to provide aid to others, including a Christmas box event to provide less fortunate kids around the world with Christmas gifts each year.
Samaritan's Purse is involved with all kinds of humanitarian things throughout the world, you know, water filters, disaster relief. Today is Operation Christmas Child, and we're going to be talking about how to pack a shoebox and how to be able to send that shoebox off to children around the world that are less fortunate than what we are here in Canada. Samaritan's Purse started Operation Christmas Child in 1993. They joined up with a group out of UK, and they were looking for somebody to help them support boxes for the Kosovo War. And Lloydminster First Baptist Church actually did the first boxes that were ever done.
The boxes are taken to Calgary for processing before being shipped off to different parts of the world, with some of the most popular items being soccer balls and footballs.
What goes in the boxes? First of all, you want to have a wow item. You want to have a big stuffy, a basketball, soccer ball, especially soccer balls. Most of the countries it goes to is they play football, they call it, so they want soccer balls. And so that would be a big wow toy, or maybe a tool, like a multi-tool, that kind of thing. We have centers at, Southridge Community Church is the main drop-off center, and we have Sparrows as a drop-off center, Toyota as a drop-off center.
And Samaritan's Purse hopes to expand and reach more people in need in the future. Art was top of mind over the weekend as residents in recovery hosted Recovery Day here in Lloydminster. A pancake breakfast kicked off the day with many gathering to celebrate recovery in our community.
Recovery Day is celebrated all across Canada. It's actually Recovery Month this month in September, so you know, there's celebrations going on you know, pretty much every weekend all across Canada through the month of September, celebrating recovery.
Now, the day also allowed more of those Faces of Lloydminster, that nice art project, to see the light of day, which would not have been possible without the support of residents in recovery.
It was impossible without it. Raising funds is relatively easy compared to building these things, and so first of all we needed a facility, and then we needed labor, and so the volunteers from the program it was just an amazing experience to work with those folks. Well, I mean, if we could do something like this, it would just be fantastic again, you know, in a different manner, and I'm thinking that the residents are looking forward to if something like that could happen, so we'll see what happens in the future.
Sunday's Recovery Day concluded with an art walk, which is the start of lots more to come from Arts Without Borders, including a fine arts show and a jazz night. And now it's time for us to take a look into the Primetime Local News archives in this week's edition of Retrospect. Starting off Retrospect in 1994, we hear how the oil industry at the time was trying to get greener.
The oil industry is trying to clean up its image. By developing not only new technology but new ways of thinking, the field is quickly making its way into the environmentally friendly age of the 90s.
I think they've had a bad rap in the past, and they're very, very extremely diligent now. Very diligent now. They're taking a lot of proactive steps. They're going beyond the regulations that have been imposed upon them to do better and to clean up sites better than they were before in the past.
The change in thinking is also clearing the path for oil patch inventors.
We tried to come up with an idea that would first and foremost reduce the amount of power that's used on conventional pumping units. Given the vast number of pumping units in Alberta and Saskatchewan at the rate that they're drilling new wells and expanding in the oil industry, we thought it was important that we could come up with a way that they could conserve power and even possibly retrofit existing units to cut down on the total demand on power.
In fact, EnviroJack uses about 70% less power than conventional pumping units. Dingwall says once you start thinking environmentally, it's hard to stop.
Part of it is out of environmental awareness. I think everybody's getting more environmentally conscious. Part of it obviously is economically driven. Marginal producers need to have pump jacks of this type that cost them less to operate. At EnviroJack, what we're doing is we'll be experimenting in the near future with an environmentally friendly oil in our hydraulic system that's largely made out of canola oil.
And moving ahead to 1998, residents are preparing to celebrate the centennial of Lloydminster.
The Heritage Building has another touch of history. Before council Monday evening, the city was presented with a special commemorative plate. It states the date the building was founded as the old post office.
It says Old Lloydminster Post Office, established 1930. A number of old buildings in Lloydminster that we'd really like to mark, and the date the plate shows the establishment date.
The association is fundraising for centennial celebrations in the year 2003, when Lloydminster turns 100 years old.
When you're trying to raise funds to do a project, as in the celebrations for 2003, which is the 100th anniversary of the city, you start to use your imagination. And so we came up with the plates.
The ceremonies didn't end there, as Mayor Plant received a photo album and a frame of memories. It commemorates the 1997 Alberta Summer Games hosted in Lloydminster.
And they put together this collage of pictures and an album that we proudly turn over to the city.
Vic Juba, Don Whiting, and Doug Aston were on hand to present the gifts. The city will display them for all to view. After presentations, councillors and company got down to business.
And that's it for this week in Retrospect.
Retrospect this week is brought to you by Webb's Ford. Worth your while to drive the extra mile. Webb's Ford in Vermilion.
And Abby St. John is here for our first look at weather as we start off a new week. We had a beautiful weekend, and temperatures are still nice, but kind of getting a little cooler.
Yes, like we were talking earlier, it's a mixed bag this week. High teens, but some sunny days, some cloudier days, so it's going to be kind of all over the place this week. And you know, it's a little bit smoky out today. It was very smoky yesterday.
Yeah. Even Saturday, I think there was a little. It started to come in a bit.
Started to roll in, even in Edmonton, where we were this weekend. You know, it was building up on Sunday for sure. But that's the same case here. We're getting a little bit more smoky, but the weather, it's going to be still high teens, so it's still going to be somewhat nice out. But we won't be seeing like those hot temperatures that we saw over the weekend and late last week. We're sitting at 17 degrees here in Lloydminster, so not too bad. It's still high in the teens, just a little bit lower than 20, with a mix of sun and cloud. So with the smoke, it's kind of a little, you can't really tell how sunny it is, but we did see some sun today, which is very nice, especially for this time of year. Across the region, similar temperatures in Alberta, 18 in Provost, Wainwright, 17 in Vermilion, Marwayne, Cold Lake, 13 in Lac La Biche, 16 in Bonnyville, St. Paul, and in Edmonton, and then 15 out in Vegreville. And then on the Saskatchewan side, a little bit more warmer temperatures in some of the spots. 25 in North Battleford, 24 in Isle Cross, 23 in Green Lake, 17 in Pierceland, 21 in Meadow Lake, 19 in Maidstone, and 20 in Macklin. So they're sitting a little bit warmer than where we are now, but still kind of those lower 20s, high teens. Tonight in North Battleford, expect some showers late in the evening with cloudy conditions, and it will be 6 degrees. So whereas it won't be super, it will be a nice temperature-wise, expect some rainfall throughout the evening. And then tomorrow will rise up to 19 degrees, so not as warm as what they saw today, but tomorrow will be the daytime high of 19 degrees with a mix of sun and clouds. So a little bit cooler, but at least there will be a little bit of sun. And then in Cold Lake, a mix of sun and cloud, and the air quality is quite low or quite high in Cold Lake. 4 degrees will be your evening temperature for tonight. And then tomorrow, mostly cloudy skies with 18 degrees. So similar to what they saw today will be the daytime high for tomorrow. And then here in Cold Lake, or here in Lloydminster, sorry, overnight we will drop to 5 degrees with a mix of sun and mix of cloud coverage. So the clouds will increase overnight tonight. And then tomorrow it should be a bright sunny day here in Lloydminster, 18 degrees. So not as warm as what we saw last week, but with that sun it should feel quite warm out. And then over the next 3 days here in Lloydminster, like I said, a mix of sun and cloud throughout the entire week. So tomorrow will be a low of 6 degrees to go with that 18 as the high. And then on Wednesday, a very cloudy day with a high of 17 and a low of 3. And then on Thursday, a mostly cloudy day with a little bit of sun peeking through with a high of 18 and a low of 4. And then we have a weather photo submission by a resident weatherman, Greg Mercer. Thank you so much for continuing to send in your photos. This is a beautiful shot here in Lloydminster, and that sun is bright and orange. So thank you so much for submitting. And if you'd like to see your weather photos on our show, please email us at weather@stingray.com. That's your first look at your weather forecast. I'll have a more in-depth look later on in the show.
Thank you, Abby. I don't know what we would do without Greg. He's always sending in some good photos. Stay with us. We'll have a look at business news next. And as we move to sports, the Lloydminster Bobcats started their regular season this past weekend with 2 games here at home. Our Thomas Wildman has more on those exciting matches.
The Lloydminster Bobcats started their home season off with their home opener against 2 southern opponents. First up was the Calgary Canucks, and the Bobcats started their season off on the right foot. The captain, Caden Cabana, scored just over a minute into the game. The rest of the game was tightly locked, with the Bobcats holding on to the lead. No goals were in the second period, but the Bobcats were almost home free to get the win in their first game of the season. But Connor Frost tied it up with just over 5 minutes left in regulation. No one could break the tie, so we headed into overtime. The 5-minute period was winding down, but a crucial penalty taken by the Canucks late in OT gave the Bobcats the man advantage. Ben Aucoin with the snipe gave the Bobcats the victory, starting off the season with a win in dramatic fashion in front of the fans.
You know, we were pretty confident as a group. We faced Fort Mac last week in overtime as well, and we got the job done, so we knew what we had to do, and I think the whole group knew we had it in us, so it was good. We're going to enjoy this one for a couple hours and then get our mindset ready for tomorrow, and I think keep the same habits. We were working hard all over the ice, all 3 periods, so if we do what we did today, I think we'll have a good chance tomorrow.
Their next matchup was against the Drumheller Dragons, who had also won their first game of the series the night before in Bonnyville. The first period saw a grand total of 7 goals. Bobcats did have the lead heading into the second, but Adam Ressler scored to tie it up. Ressler would hit the score sheet again, giving the Dragons the lead early in the third. A coin would score for the Bobcats to knot it up again, and then Setter would get a goal on the power play to give the Bobcats the lead. And the final dagger came when Dalton McGalvery scored on the empty netter, leading to the Bobcats' perfect record of 2-0, and being tied for the top of the league with 6 other teams. Head coach Brad Riella says the team will still look to improve so they can keep up this momentum.
And you're always looking to get better, and that's kind of been what we've talked to the guys about, is just get better every day and learn something new every day and keep applying that. So, but at the end of the day, the biggest thing was have a buzzer-to-buzzer mentality, make sure that we're playing the right way for our home crowd, and I feel like we did that at the end of the day today.
One other standout was Jack Solomon, who was signed in the offseason and started both games with 77 saves and a .928 save percentage.
It feels really good. As you can tell by the locker room, we're buzzing right now. It just helps out everybody, helps out me, so it was a good time.
Next, the Bobcats will have a tough matchup against the Sherwood Park Crusaders. Thomas Wildman, Primetime, local news.
Well, it's nice to see the Bobcats starting their season with some success. Time now, though, for us to check in once again with Abby St. John for another look at weather.
Thanks so much, Jace. Taking a look at current temperatures, it is 17 degrees here in Lloydminster with heavier cloud coverage today and yesterday, and even some Saturday. We started seeing some smoke roll in, and it's quite heavy. It was quite heavy yesterday, and that continued into today. So definitely be cautious about that if you're going outside. But we're seeing a bit cooler temperatures than we saw last week, which is what we're going to see for the majority of this week. Kind of a mixed bag of weather. We're going to have some sunny days, some cloudier days, but right now it's 17, so it's not too cold, but we are getting in those temperatures. Current temperatures across Alberta: 16 in Edmonton, Whitecourt, Edson, and Red Deer, 17 in Cold Lake, 15 in Athabasca, 14 in Rocky Mount House, and 13 out in Jasper. And then on the Saskatchewan side, they are seeing significantly warmer temperatures than what we are. 25 in North Battleford, 26 in Saskatoon and Prince Albert, 21 in Meadow Lake, and 27 in Melfort. And then if we look more northern temperatures in Saskatchewan, also sitting quite warm up north: 21 in La Loche, Buffalo Narrows, Flin Flon, and Stony Rapids, 12 in Uranium City, 19 in Wollaston Lake, and 25 in South End. And then on the Alberta side, up north, 16 in Peace River, Slave Lake, Fort Chipewyan, 15 in Grand Prairie and Fort Mac, and then 18 in High Level. And then more southern temperatures in Alberta: 15 in Calgary and Banff, 23 in Lethbridge, 27 in Medicine Hat, and 17 in Coronation. And then on the Saskatchewan side, down south, 26 in Kindersley and Swift Current, 29 in Yorkton, 20 and in Estevan, 27 in Regina, and 28 in Moose Jaw. So down south in Saskatchewan, they're still seeing those very warm temperatures, which kind of wish we were seeing those, but we are still sitting quite warm. Overnight tonight in North Battleford, it'll drop to 6 degrees, so it'll be quite cool tonight. However, expect some showers later on in the evening, and it will be a little bit more on the breezier side throughout the night. And then tonight in Cold Lake, will drop down to 4 degrees, and the air quality is not great in Cold Lake with a mix of cloud and clearer skies. And then overnight tonight across the region, 3 degrees in Meadow Lake and Bonnyville, 5 degrees in Provost, 6 in Isla Cross, and 4 in Paradise Hill. In Provost, expect some showers later on in the evening, but for the most part across the region, it will just be quite cloudy. And then more overnight temperatures: 3 in Mirnam, 4 in Pearson and Wainwright, and in Calgary, 5 in Unity. And Unity and Calgary are expected to see some showers on in the evening. Overnight tonight here in Lloydminster will drop down to 5 degrees and increasing clouds throughout the evening tonight. Over the next 7 days, a high of 18 degrees for tomorrow with a very sunny day, so that's always nice to look forward to, with a low of 6. And then on Wednesday, we get back to more cloudier conditions with a high of 17 and a low of 3. On Thursday, a mix of sun and cloud with a high of 18 and a low of 4. On Friday, we'll get right up back to the 20s with a high of 21 with a mix of sun and cloud and a low of 5. On Saturday, it's going to be a bit of a breezier morning with a high of 20 and a low of 3 degrees, which will be a mix of sun and cloud. On Sunday, there's a 66% chance that we'll see some showers in the morning with a mix of sun and cloud with a high of 19 and a low of 2. On Monday, it'll be a very cloudy day with about a 40% chance that we'll see some showers throughout the day with a high of 20 and a low of 10. That is a look at your 7-day forecast, and just a reminder that if you'd like to see your weather photos on our show, please email us at weathers@stingray.com. That is a look at your 7-day forecast. We'll have more news coming up after the break. Very happy to be joined here today by the Lloydminster Public Library's Director, Cheryl Sikora. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Now, you're here today to talk about the drop-in style open house that the library is hosting on September 21st. Now, what is the purpose of this open house? What are you hoping that people take away from this event?
We've got a lot of new and exciting things happening in the library, and we just wanted a chance to showcase them in the community. We have a lot of active patrons who come regularly, but we know that some people haven't had a chance to come check us out. So we're having this event to invite everybody, whether they're an active library user or not, to come learn about the kinds of things that we offer at the library.
Which sounds awesome and a great way, especially since you guys, you haven't been in the Lloyd Mall for a super long time. So it's great that people, if they haven't stopped by, they can check out what the new library location looks like.
Absolutely.
Now, what are you hoping people take away from this open house? What are you hoping that they learn?
For sure. We're going to have 12 stations. They're hosted by our staff and our board members, and it's going to showcase a variety of our services, from our outreach to our children's programs to our readers advisory. We know that patrons are still refamiliarizing themselves with the library. So we're excited to pique people's curiosity and get them interested in the library for sure.
Which is awesome, and especially, technology is such a huge thing today that not a lot of people are opening up actual books. You have e-readers and you can read on your phone and all this, so it's great that you guys are offering all these different programs to really get people back into reading, especially children. I think that's the most important thing, is getting them into reading.
Absolutely. But you'd actually be surprised at how many people read books. Between January and July of 2023, we lent close to 70,000 resources from the Lloydminster Public Library itself, so people are reading a ton in our community. We have an initiative called the 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten, and the children, the program filled up quite quickly, and we're hoping to offer some more spaces soon. So reading and literacy is very important in our community, and we just want this open house to provide an opportunity to learn more about the kinds of things that we have here for sure.
That's awesome. Can you give me a couple hints on some of the programs that you will be offering, maybe some of the kids programs?
So on Wednesdays at 9:15 we have toddler runs, and so we invite toddlers and their grown-ups to come to the library before it's even open, to race around, burn off some energy, make some noise, and have a lot of fun in the library. We had our first toddler run this past Wednesday, and it was really fantastic. We regularly have preschool story times on Tuesdays at 1 o'clock and Thursdays at 10:30. Those are already very well attended, but we're absolutely inviting others to join us. And then on Friday mornings at 10:30, we're having preschool and toddler dance parties, which is going to pretty much guaranteed to be a fantastic time.
These events just sound so unique, and it's creating these kids a new generation of kids to fall in love with reading in a very fun way. And it's great for the parents because their kids can burn off a bunch of energy before they have to take a nap. So
absolutely,
and they don't have to deal with the massive chaos. That sounds awesome. How can people get involved with the library?
Library cards are free at Lloydminster Public Library. You just need to bring in some ID with your Lloydminster address, regardless of which side of the border you live on. And if you live anywhere in Saskatchewan, you're also welcome to get a Lloydminster Public Library card. If you live outside of Lloydminster on the Alberta side, you'll need to register with your local library first, and then you can come to the Lloydminster Public Library. So we welcome everybody to come join us.
That's awesome. Now for the open house, what should people know prior to the event? Location, time, and what they need to know before they show up for the event.
So it's at Lloydminster Public Library in the mall on the Safeway end. It runs from 4 to 8 and is drop-in. You can spend 10 minutes or 2 hours, whatever is interesting to you. You'll receive a passport when you arrive, and you'll get a stamp at each of the stations as you go around. Once you've had complete passports, you'll be able to enter in for a draw for 2 tickets to Lloydminster Reads.
That sounds awesome. Now, is there anything else that you'd like to add that I may have missed?
We've got a few other exciting programs coming up for sure. We have a Reconciliation Reads on October 5th. The book choice there is Michelle Good's 5 Little Indians. And we're going to have some elders and knowledge keepers, and it's co-hosted with the Heart of Treaty 6. And so we're going to have this event October 5th at 6:30 and just have a real profound and interesting conversation about real lived experiences in our community.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I think this event and all the events that you have going on, especially the children's programs, I think they're so unique and a great way for people to fall in love with reading and continue to read as well, because I think that's the most important part. So thank you so much for joining me, and good luck with the open house on September 21st.
Thank you very much. I hope to see you there.
Taking a look at the next 3 days for your weather. A high of 18 and a low of 6 for tomorrow. Very sunny day out. And then on Wednesday, those clouds roll in at 17 for your daytime high and a low of 3. And then on Thursday, a mix of sun and cloud with a high of 18 and a low of 4 to wrap up the next 3 days.
Excited to see that, Abby. Now, this might seem a little out of nowhere, but are you scared of snakes?
Absolutely.
Well, if you're scared of snakes, maybe take a look away from the screen in a second here, because it was a surprise of a lifetime for one driver in Wyoming when they opened the hood of their car and found an Australian python underneath. Look at it there. The snake was first spotted in their garage before somehow making it under their hood, and amazingly, they actually drove away with the python under there. They drove it to a sanctuary, and then they removed it, and it's being cared for at that sanctuary. But look how big it is, too.
Oh.
That's, I think, what surprised me the most.
I think I would break down. I'd probably pass out. I'd hyperventilate. It would not be a good day if that was me in that situation.
And what was it doing in there? I don't know.
Yeah,
Craziness.
who knows how it ended up getting in there anyways.
But that's all the time we have for this edition of Primetime Local News. Have a good night, and we'll see you again tomorrow.